If There we are. And if you are not on our email list, give me 1 second. I'm going to pop in the chat instructions for how to get on the email list. So you will receive future invites and recordings and everything you need to keep in touch. And I'll monitor the chat, and then we'll open it up for Q&A at the end. So I guess, Anjali, if you want to take it from here.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jen. Just a little housekeeping. If everyone wouldn't mind when they're not speaking to just stay on mute, that way we can hear the words of wisdom coming from Caroline even better. So no pressure, Caroline, no pressure. Yeah. All righty. Firstly, everyone, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules and joining us. This is going to be so worth your while. Caroline is, I don't know, with the amount of hats she wears, how she has such a perfect hairdo at the end of it, because this lady wears a lot of very, very impressive hats, I assure you.
Wait.
She is, obviously, as you would all know, the Director of Professional Development for Keller Williams Luxury. What does that mean to us as agents? It means that she is responsible for the advancement of the professional development of all of us KW Luxury agents, or those that aspire to be, to make sure that they provide exceptional standards of service and care to clients. And I think that is her trademark, that white glove service, that exceptional quality. In fact, I'm just going to quickly read quote someone who commented on our Facebook post, and you might just have heard of them. Sorry, my paper just fell at the back over there. But they are Brian Garrity and Wes Shaw, who talked about this call, saying that it is an absolute not miss. Obviously, Caroline is one of the most fabulous and inspiring luxury practitioners out there. This should be a sellout. She's humble, always coming from contribution, and just a beautiful human being who is abundant in her gifts and always pouring into others. She is impossible not to love and massively respect. She is truly one of my heroes and one of the finest luxury practitioners out there. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I get goosebumps just listening to that. I'm like, oh, wow.
My makeup. Very humbling.
No. Oh, very deserved. Not only does Caroline lead the Caroline Care Group in San Francisco, but she's an ALC member and investor in her market center, IALC rep for North Carolina and Hawaii, assists KWRI as an R2G2 growth advisor. She has received the Eagle Award from her region. And if that was not impressive enough, she co-founded her own baby products company, which sold products through Babies R Us, The Right Star, Bye Bye Baby, etc. I mean, do you ever sleep?
Wow, you really did your research, Anjali.
I am totally, wow, seriously, do you ever sleep?
My coach makes me sleep. It's actually in our growth plan is to catch up on sleep. So yes, sleep is important. I've learned how to really be efficient in my day. And when I first was approached with this position, it was daunting, the self-talk. How can I do this? I'm still in production, running the team. And how do I take this on, responsible for 10,000 incredible agents and their growth? And very daunting, stepped into the storm and just said, let's go for it. And I think that's a great question, because I realized that I gifted myself an hour every day. So you think, 12, 14-hour days isn't enough. You have to be on all the time. When I took 1 hour, a very intentional hour, not giving myself that 1 hour, but gifting myself that 1 hour every morning for my white space, that has actually allowed me to do more in a more efficient use of my time. So we can talk more about that later. But that's
awesome.
I love that term, gifting myself. I mean, we never think of it that way. That is fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you again, Caroline, for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor to have you. Our goal is to ask you some questions for 45 minutes until about 11:45 a.m. East Coast time, and then open up questions to the audience here so they can ask them if that's okay with you.
Yes, and if we run over time and there are questions, if you wouldn't mind collecting them and sending them my way, I can shoot a quick video and send it to you. So I want to make sure that all questions are answered.
Thank you so much.
That's terrific. We do send a recap. So if there's anything that we need to follow up on, we'll connect and share it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So as far as your director of professional growth for KW Luxury, can you share with us what lessons have you learned in terms of leadership and in terms of being a better luxury practitioner since you've taken on this role?
Yes, that's a big question. And when I think back and I sit back and I think about learnings, I compartmentalize everything. So as far as what are the lessons I've learned since taking this role personally, I've learned that one can achieve more when we gift ourselves thinking time, thinking not just for answers, thinking about how to ask the right questions to get you to the right answers. Because sometimes we are trying to solve a problem, but that's not really the problem. So learning how to ask the right questions and getting to it. And it just helps minimize the unnecessary when you gift yourself that time. Business-wise, Gary always asks us, what is the problem we're trying to solve? And in gathering information and feedback from all of you, I feel like I'm finally getting my sea legs. And so many of our agents' opportunities or problems all fall into similar categories. So by asking the right questions, we can help solve your problems faster. So leads, marketing, tools, connections, referrals. So rather than identify the right problem, how to solve it also. And behind the curtain, I've learned how fast things move at KW. I'm getting whiplash sometimes. And I realize that behind every single decision that KW makes, the intention behind it is always, what can we do for the greater good of the agents and to give them advantage to build the businesses and lives that they want. And I also learned business-wise at KW, what it feels like to have the right people in the right seats alongside you at a very high level. It's like expecting to get into a Porsche and then you realize it's a Bugatti and you're just flying. Everything is smoother, faster. And I look around and I'm like, I can't keep up with them, which is great. That's when you know you have talent around you. And as far as real estate, luxury real estate lessons, I've been in business for 18 years. And I do have to say my business is anywhere somebody from just graduating school and starting out to the CEOs and chairs of major global consulting companies and corporations. And what I realized is, number one, act like the person you envision yourself to be. Now, don't wait. Be that person now. You are there as an advisor and you deserve a seat at the table. So what do you need to know now in order to earn that seat? Second, you're not an order taker. So even the toughest people that you've ever met, the CEOs, the sports stars, the movie stars, they actually want you to lead, right? They have these consultants around them, the wealth managers, their tax advisors, all these people advising their agents. Why are you not at the table and how are you going to lead them the same way that they will listen to you? So you have to earn that right. I'll give you an example. One of my clients in the last 2 years was the CEO of a major global consulting company. If I say the company, you'll know. He's a tough nut. He was difficult. There were 9 attorneys involved. And I actually was able to tell them the truth of why his strategy was not in his best interest. And how he treated my people did not align with my values and our mission, vision, values, and beliefs. So I fired him. It was an $18 million listing. And when I let it go, because it did not align with our values, he came back and he behaved very well. So not being afraid to let them go if they don't align with their values, and having their best interest in mind and not being able to speak up about it and why, I think is extremely important. And that person has since given me 3 more referrals.
Amazing. So you earned his respect by doing that. It sounds like a fiduciary level of service that you gave him there.
100%. And it wasn't, you want 30 million? Fine, let's go. Let's put it on and then let it sit in the market for 8 months. Right? So that did not align with their goals. And so that led to number 3, which is if know who you are, know who you're not, if somebody's not matching your values, it's okay to walk away, coming from abundance, not scarcity. Number 4, understand luxury in your world. Luxury in our world in the San Francisco Bay Area is very different than New York. I see somebody from New York. Hi, Mark, I see you too. From Florida, from Atlanta. It's very different. So here, luxury in the Bay Area, you know, when they're looking into luxury and ultra luxury, there's old money, there's also new money. New money is really probably engineers. They're first generation. Their thinking is different. Their questions are different. They're very understated in some parts, right? I say this all the time, somebody could be a billionaire. She's walking around in Lululemons and driving a Prius, but the diamond that's this big on her neck is probably worth $300,000. So understand who your luxury clientele are. So and you don't have to be one of them to be in the world. So you don't have to be them to advise them. Just really understand who you are. And number 5 is the luxury clients just really want a few things: make it easy, make it fast, make it the best deal, and solve the problem.
Easy, fast, best deal, solve the problem.
That's all they want. And so if you can provide, because they're busy, they're very busy. They don't want you to come to them with problems. Oh, the sewer lateral isn't working. What should we do? You know, and that goes into the anticipatory service. Nice. You asked about leadership, right? Leadership lessons. Oh boy, lots of failures. I didn't listen to my coach a lot of the times, and it just went sideways. People have lived before you, so listen to them. I think number 1 is when you are hiring, whether you're an individual agent right now or you're running a team of 20, I highly recommend that you take a few days out of your week and really sit down, if you don't have one already, to create a MVVBP, mission, vision, values, beliefs, and perspectives. And we can get into that, you know, that's probably another class. And really it is a living covenant. I was fortunate to have Mo Anderson coach me on this when I first started KW. And she said, darling, it's too long. You got to shorten it down. And so I took 5 pages, I condensed it to 3. It's still too long. However, I do not want to cut it any further. It's really a living covenant of how you envision your business, why you're in business, and how you're going to treat each other on your team and how you're going to treat your clients. So every decision, if you're very clear on that, it's easy. So when that $18 million client was throwing a tantrum and not treating our team well, it was easy to walk away. And you know what? When I made that decision, the team respected it because they understood it, which brings us to having that MVVBP, and hire to that MVVBP is critical. You can have the smartest person, the hungriest agent, or the brightest TC working with you, but if that culture doesn't align with you, your life is going to be very difficult. And your standards may be compromised because everybody around you, whether you're an individual agent and you don't have somebody yet with you, your vendors are an extension of you. They're going out into the world really wearing your name on their t-shirts, right? Because you're recommending the vendors, you're recommending the stagers. Do they align with who you are? So I can't stress enough the importance of that mission, vision, values, and beliefs and perspectives. Make it a safe environment to expect, give, and receive feedback through radical candor. Clarity is kind. So when you have people who raise their hands and want to be in your world, it is our duty to make sure that they reach their goals. And we can't do that if we just beat around the bush. And if they're not on track, we're saying, it's okay, you'll have another shot. I learned that early. because I'm one that's always wants to put everybody, like wrap them under a blanket and hold them and give them hot chocolate. And I realized that kind of love did not do anything for their production. So learning early that radical candor is really important. That's a tenet of our team as well. And I expect them to talk to me about it. I don't want to be the empress with no clothes, right?
Mhm.
That'll be an eyesore. That would like make you blind. And then what we do is we do function checks every month. At the end of every month, I talk to every single person. I get their perspective of what's going well and what are areas of opportunity in all the segments of our business. And then you can have, clarity of what's really happening. And I ask for feedback on my leadership as well. And then check in with your people because life happens. If you have people on your team, redo their motivational interview every year because life happens. And I learned that after COVID, after 2020, when I redid their motivational interviews, half the team, their initial motivation when they joined the team had drastically changed.
And that's on the
And
Keller
so-
Williams CPI, the career visioning, the KPA, Keller Personality Assessment, correct? As a portion.
Yes,
of the organization.
absolutely. One of the most critical components of the CV. Every component is different. It is important, but that one I believe will help you lead people. Never ask your team to do something that you wouldn't do yourself. I'm on the floor scrubbing before open houses. I'll paint something. I'll grab a paintbrush. I'll dig a hole to plant a plant. So, and the difficult things as well. Growth mindset, having a growth mindset because you're leading their futures, and communicate it often, have a very clear vision so that you're all on the same page. In making decisions, seek out the quiet ones because everybody's opinion matters. And the quiet ones that don't always speak up, they may have something really important to say. They may not say a lot. However, maybe they spit out one sentence and it's like the thing that you needed at that moment, right? So seek everyone's opinion, make everybody's opinion counts. And then celebrate gains and wins, no matter how small, because this business is tough and this business will eat you alive if you don't. And as a leader, you have to celebrate everybody's wins.
Great
So
advice.
those are my leadership lessons. So
Thank you.
I don't know if that answered your question.
Absolutely. This is worth listening to over and over again. So far, the nuggets that we've gained, there's a lot of wisdom here, folks. So thank you for sharing that, Caroline. Question, what's the definition of luxury in your area? Right here in Miami, it's $1 million or above, according to KW. We've had some other people here on the call who have been showing what they are in different areas. What about you in San Mateo? Are you San Mateo, San Francisco?
San Francisco County. So where we are is, I say San Francisco Bay Area. We're actually, so San Francisco is the Bay Area is like a peninsula, and then there's a bay. So San Francisco proper is the tip of the peninsula, and then there's Silicon Valley. All right. So north and south, we're right in the middle. And so don't hate us, please. I'm going to share some numbers, so please don't judge. A typical typical agent in our area, they probably produce 5 to 6 transactions and they're done. They're good for the year. They're very small geographical area for Mid-Peninsula. It's 40 miles long. It's about 12 miles wide, about 27 cities and towns in between. And not a lot of listings, a lot of agents. And we also happen to have some of the highest priced zip codes in the country. So it looks different. So in this little geographical area, if you can move 1 mile over and luxury is different. I would say overall, the threshold for luxury is 3 million. And that's probably an area by the airport. In Atherton, 90427, one of the highest priced zip codes, 6 million gets you dirt. You get dirt.
Wow, interesting.
So luxury in Atherton probably starts at 20 million to be luxury.
Amazing. Amazing.
And then
Just
everything in
slightly
between.
different from us out here. Our luxury starts at 700.
Yeah. Yeah.
Used
I can't wait to come down and visit.
So question
But
for
we
you
are
then.
also price blind, right? So, I mean, we have starter homes, condos at $1.5 million that we're selling. So everybody deserves that luxury experience. Humans deserve that. And that's why we are price blind where we are. Our
Great
team is.
expression. Price blind. Love that expression. So where do your buyers come from? Who are what cities, what states, what countries are buying in your area?
It's really interesting because our our cost of living is so high. It's also really beautiful. As people are leaving California, many people are moving back in, and we're watching where the referrals are coming from, where clients are coming from, how money is moving and tracking along the country. A lot of the buyers that are coming in, if it's out of state, they're coming from New York, they're coming from Chicago, they're coming from Boston. So these are people with either family here already, or they have business ties. So it's a lot of the other larger cities coming here. And we are also seeing grandparents move here to be closer to the grandkids. So it could be from Florida. We have people coming from DC, doing the reverse move, coming from Arizona. Those are really grandparents. It's really interesting to see.
Interesting.
And then country-wise, Asia is still, because we're the gateway to the Pacific. And so we're still seeing a lot of Asian buyers, China, Hong Kong. We saw Russians the last few years. They're really under the radar. They really, one time, I'll tell you this funny story. So, a buyer came in with 3 bodyguards and put out 3 suitcases and opened it up, and they were cash. And we're like, well, cash here really means by wire, not literally cash.
Wow. That would love to see that.
You see some things if you've been in the business long enough.
Sounds like Miami in the 80s. So question, you're mentioning these big numbers. What was your evolution into a luxury agent? Did you start out that way, or has it been a progression?
You know what? I started 18 years ago, as Anjali mentioned. I worked at Nordstrom. I was in consulting, which really, like, every role I feel has built up to where I am now. Nordstrom was the service standard, right, back then. And then IT, I was in consulting, so I would match. I would go to these tech companies and ask their EVPs, what type of team do you need? And become matchmakers and build teams for them. And so that's where I learned how to consult and how to ask questions, the best use of time. And then when we had Claire, I started my baby products business. So it's really from grassroots to delivery to how do you get reorders and how do you get to the big guns. And then, so when I started real estate 18 years ago, I knew where I wanted to be. And I wanted to be in a higher price point because I felt like I could do it. I felt like I could speak their language. It was intimidating. However, I said, I want to know who I am. This is my brand. And I want it to be not just luxury. I want it to be approachable luxury. I want it to be open for everyone. I want it to be like, come on in, the water's fine kind of feeling. And I want it to be a connector. So that's why my logo is the link. It's a link, because not only do we link buyers and sellers, we link people within the community and clients to each other, which is really neat. So to answer your question, I was intentional about it. So the first thing I started doing was asking luxury agents to do their open houses. And there's a line out their door people asking them to host their open homes. I created a plan. I said, this is what it's going to look like when I host one of your homes. This is what I'm going to do for you. This is when I'm going to show up. These are the questions I'm going to ask. I'm going to start a spreadsheet for you. So at the end of the open house, the spreadsheet is going to be sent to you, names, numbers, at that time, also emails, and their comments so that you can share that with the owners. And I'm going to leave in a better condition than when I came in. So, and I'm not going to ask for anything if any of these buyers buy. I just want the experience. And so with that, I was able to get more and more open house opportunities. And I learned from agents what to do and what not to do. And then so when I started posting on social media about these open houses that I'm doing, and places I was hosting, it automatically created this kind of image that I was already doing it. And so when the first referral came in, I served that client at the highest level. And that's when the business started, is because that was through that one client, it was through referrals.
Amazing.
And so my business is 90+%, I would say 95% referrals.
It's not surprising hearing the service, level of care, client care, Nordstrom, all these different factors. It's about, I don't hear selling anywhere in this conversation. It's all about serving, you know, and it's an aha for me listening to you. And it's amazing how many people with Nordstrom backgrounds are excelling in real estate. What is it that they taught employees that allows them to excel? I think I know the answer based on what you're saying, but can you spend 30 seconds on that?
Sure, I'll give you a quick lesson. We're always taught to greet people, right? No matter what. They come in a certain distance, you always greet them. You don't pressure them, you greet them. One day, this woman came in and she was just, her hair was scraggly. She came in and nobody said hello to her. And I said hello. And this is many, many years ago. So I greeted myself, I introduced myself. I'm here if you need anything. You're holding 3 bags. Let me put that behind the counter for you so you can shop freely. At that time, she purchased $1,500 worth of clothes. At that time, this is like 20+ years ago. And that's when I learned that everybody deserves a proper greeting, because you never know where it's going to lead.
Interesting.
That's just one example.
Great example right there. It's a great example. Is it true that in the last 7 years, you've grown your team from 20 million in volume to about $100 million in volume?
Yes, I was with another brokerage 7 years ago, and I was hitting my ceiling as an individual agent. I came to KW in 2015. I was at 20 million, I couldn't break it. I joined KW, plugged in, and the next year I did 44.
Amazing. So what are the top 3 things that you've done to go from 20 million to 100 or so in the last 6 or 7 years?
When I made that change to come into KW, I wanted to learn, and I wanted to unlearn everything that I learned. And I said, look, I'm just brand new baby, teach me everything. And I plugged in. There was no ego. I checked my ego at the door. And I plugged in. I went to Bold. I went to Mega Camp. I got a coach. And I've been with my coach for 7 years, and that coach has changed my life. And referrals, delivering unforgettable experiences that they can't wait to shout from the rooftops. You have to use Caroline and her team, and this is why. You want to develop raving fans and ambassadors for you. And then I was intentional about building a business that is not dependent on the economy. So there's a division of our business, and we talked about this at Masterminds, was what in your world is something that is not dependent on the economy. And for me, it was estate attorneys, divorces, and these things will happen whether the economy is good or bad. And so you deliver an exceptional experience for one of the clients of these attorneys, and you make them look good and make their job easier, you're going to have a referral client for life.
And I've heard you say that that's a very important piece to accessing these $18 million sellers and buyers. It's to get access to their professional, their CPAs, their attorneys, that type of thing, correct?
Yes. So you look at the people who are around those people's tables, who are their consultants. And so that $18 million client, although it was difficult, came from a divorce attorney. And of course, she's referred every other difficult divorce to us as well. However, we know how to do it, and they trust us.
That's great. It's funny. Madonna's house, where she used to live here in Miami, just traded for 29 million. And the seller, who's in Italy, he found out the agent, the listing agent, through his attorney here in Miami. That agent is an agent in the Hamptons in New York. That's how they got this $29 million. So it speaks to what you're saying. Have access to the attorneys and have relationships and consciously focus on building relationships with these attorneys, CPAs, et cetera, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And building relationships with the Keller Williams community. Like what you're doing is amazing. And can I tell you that first quarter alone this year, our luxury agents referred each other $5.9 billion in business.
Wow.
That's what some brokerages do in a year.
That's amazing.
I mean, bravo to all of you who are in luxury, who are aspiring to get into luxury. We're very fortunate to be with Keller Williams because of the network.
Absolutely. It feels like the momentum of Keller Williams Luxury is building under your leadership, under Brady's leadership. It just feels like it's on the rise. That's my impression being with Keller Williams a couple of years. So bravo to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome. So let me ask you, what does lead generation look like in your world, Caroline?
Lead generation is relationship building for us. So you have to do where your strengths are. So if your strengths are door knocking, your strengths are being on the phone, do that. That is not mine. Mine is really relationship building. And in the morning, in the evening, it is looking on social media and looking for events that are happening in our clients' lives and touching them. Remembering what they're about. Even 6 years ago, somebody sold a home, and I remembered that they had a certain type of dog, and I saw an article about this type of dog recently, and I sent it to them. So that type of relationship building, really understand that it's not transactional. The relationship doesn't end after the transaction is closed, and staying in their lives, and looking for marker moments, defining moments where you can touch them. And meeting them where they are. Relationship building is also informing them of what they need to know now in the moment. So, for example, when we were shutting down in 2020 and getting the loans, the PPP loans, a lot of our clients are business owners. We learned how to do it. We put on a webinar on how to get PPP loans. The mass exodus from California, where are they going? We put on a webinar of the top 5 places Californians are going and why. A lot of our clients are now grew up with us and they're doing 1031 exchanges and they don't know how to do one. We put it on a webinar. So meeting them where your clients are is really important, and providing the value. Because if you're not dating your database, somebody else is. Right? I hear that over and over again. So if you're not providing the value, somebody else is going to, and they're going to be the person of the moment, and they may redirect. So you've worked hard for those relationships, keep them.
Keep that mind share. Keep that mind share by touching them and providing value is what I'm hearing you say. Awesome.
Yeah, constantly. And value isn't just a recipe card. It's not a recipe card, especially when you're dealing with the clientele that we're dealing with. It is things that they need to know that other agents are not talking to them about.
Mm-hmm. Such as the seminars that you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of our clients are now saying, I'm looking to invest in Airbnbs. We had a speaker come. It was invite only about how to invest in Airbnbs and best practices.
Interesting. That's great value. Great value. Recently, you had an interview in KW's Outfront magazine, and you said your quote was, "Luxury isn't just a price point. We make sure we are price blind, as you mentioned. Luxury is an experience, not a transaction. You make it feel truly personal and warm for every client." So my question is, the truly personal, warm experience, is that a function of creativity by your team, or is that a function of models and systems?
It is a function of being human and recognizing what people need as part of their journey. So I've mapped out a buyer journey, what it looks like, the highs and lows, what they could be feeling. Okay, they're excited to start their journey. They get really upset when they realize they don't qualify for what they want, what they had hoped for. Then they're excited because you're out touring, and then they're not excited because they're losing. And then so the buyer journey is not this, right? It is this. So knowing what they're going to be feeling at what different point and being ready to catch them is very important. So Brady has defining moments. So that's how he and I bonded, by the way. It was 7 years ago at a subway station, a Subway sandwich station in Bellingham. And we were so glamorous, right? Eating a Subway sandwich. And we're eating the sandwich and we're talking about client care. I was like, you do this too? And he's like, you do this too? And so being really active listeners and observers of your clients. And then, yes, then once you know, being human, what it's going to feel like, then you put systems and models in place. So we have defining moments ourselves for a seller journey and a buyer journey.
Could you touch on that briefly, the defining moments, what that looks like for your team?
Sure. For a seller, we understand that one of the largest or biggest headaches is organizing and packing up. And so what we always do is we hire a professional organizer for them. So we gift them 5 hours of professional organizer's time to use however they choose, whether it's to pack up mom's china or to unpack when the new place. At least they know they have help there. All the supplies, everything is already there. We have a deal with our mover that our clients get three months of free storage should they need it. So having that in place, we have Airbnbs that we can call right away should our clients need a place to stay. So having those services ready, that's number one. When they're packing up and they're getting ready to move, we send them lunch. We say, what is your favorite place? Lunch is on us. When they're getting ready to do open house, if there are children involved, we send a note to the children. I know many of you might have heard this. Thank you so much, Jason, for packing up your toys. We know how hard it is to put your beloved toys away. We can't wait to find another home for them when you pick your next room. And then we give them a Baskin-Robbins gift card. So little moments like this, the night they're move out, it's going to be their last meal at home, should they decide to. We ask what their favorite restaurant is and what is their favorite order. It's delivered, candlelight, beverages are there. When we're signing closing documents, we're now notary. 30 minutes before the notary shows up, a bottle of champagne is delivered, if that is what their preference is. So it's little defining moments like this. If it's a home that they've loved, the closing gift is key. If it's a home that they've loved, enjoyed, really have great memories, we have a professional artist draw out there, and we frame it. We put our logo on the back because then it's tax deductible. Check with your CPAs. And then, so we had a client who manages $8 billion in funds, and I could have given her an Hermes scarf at the end. And I talk about this a lot, but she could have 10 Hermes scarves in her closet. What I heard her say, she's from the Midwest, so she said, I asked her, what do you miss about home? And she said, my mom's special bread that you can only get in this town, like the ingredients. So for her closing gift was a basket of all the ingredients from her hometown. Wow. So from one home to another, right? And so being active listener and understanding your clients.
That's amazing. So you got her a gift. What do you give the woman who's got everything? You just gave a great example of what to do for that type of client, and this level of attention and thought. And I do hear systems and models and what you're saying right there, just along the way, but just such a, you're connecting on such an emotional level with these folks. It's amazing.
Hope to.
Yeah. You said that in the article, you also said that your brand is not just the look, it's your standard to the smallest details, such as how your team writes emails, how quickly they respond, and how anticipatory they are. Can you talk about how a luxury team should write emails, how fast they should respond, and what does anticipatory look like on a luxury team such as yours?
Yes, so that's clarity of who you are, right? So we always, every email that we have, when they first come on board, we have this policies and guidelines manual. And then we also have a section about communication. These are expectations of communication. This is how we write an email. We never start with hey. We don't write in lowercase. We are dealing with executives. And even if they write that way, we can relax a little bit. Well, that's not who we are, right? So we always start with dear so-and-so, dear Jason, dear Anjali, dear Jen. And if they come back with hi, then we'll respond with hi. We will never do hey. It's always the format is formal greeting, mirror the response, a warm hello, a message, an action item, because they want to be told what happens next, a fond greeting, and a formal sign off. So my sign off is always all my best. And it's however you want to be, right? And that's your brand. And So that is the standard for our emails, and emails are responded to within 2 hours. Even if you don't have time to write an email, it's like, Jason, thank you so much for your email. I'm in meetings right now. I want to respond to you when I have when you have my full attention. Would that be okay? So, and calls as well. I don't answer calls while I'm driving, because what if I need to take notes? Because I want to pay attention to them. So I call them back. I say, I'm so sorry I missed your call. Thank you for your message. I was driving. I wanted to make sure that my focus was on you and that I had some time to do so. Is this a good time? So they'll forgive you. And one of the most important things that we do is the no update. Our agents could be working really, 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 really hard for our clients. However, if they're not updating their clients think you're not doing anything. Yes. So if they're waiting around, it is drilled into them. If there's no update today, let them know. Just want to check in. We're working on it, and there's no update. You'll hear from me. When you hear from me, that's when we'll have that day. So just a no update is extremely important, because their mind could go this way.
And what is
that not doing?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
What is the frequency with which you encourage your team to communicate? Is it like on a daily basis, or is it a weekly check-in point?
If it's an active client, it is daily. And so we have a client concierge. That was a new position. We felt like we needed that. There was a hole that needed to be filled. And with that is every Monday, every client gets an update of what's going to happen next in the next week and when it's going to happen. And then they get daily check-ins. For listings, if they're not in the area, we're sending them photos of progress of what we're doing, because we transform homes. So it all depends on we ask that of the client. How would you like us to communicate with you? Daily? Because we can be very communicative. Is it through a text thread? Is it through email? So we kind of lead them, because sometimes they say, I don't know. So we tell them that we start a text thread once we sign the listing agreement with buyer broker agreement with everybody there. And we use that for urgency, appointments, things of urgent nature, emails from informational. Does that work for you? Yes, that works for me. Great. Or no, that doesn't work for me. Just shoot me some bullet points once a week. That's fine too.
Interesting. Great stuff. So we have 85 people on the call. There must be some questions out there, and we have an incredible resource on the line with us. Who would like to ask some questions to Caroline Huo on the call with us? You've been so generous with our time.
I'm going to jump in first, because we host this call monthly, and we get a lot of questions about the KW Luxury resources. And with you on the call, I thought it would be a great opportunity for you to just speak a little bit about all the great benefits and tools that maybe get looked over, because I feel like we just have so many terrific resources for agents.
I'm so excited. We're working on a lot of things right now, and I cannot announce them yet. So mark your calendars. October 1st to 3rd is a luxury symposium in Boston. So we're going to be piggybacking with Fall Masterminds. We selected a wonderful location as a Boston Omni Seaport. We're right on the water. It's the first event like this we've ever held. And it is Brady's brainchild of bringing the world of luxury, not just luxury real estate, the world of luxury to you. We're going to have some incredible speakers from brands that you know, and we're going to be talking about how they serve their clients, how they coach their clients, how do they maintain their standards on a global scale. I mean, we're having trouble in the small scale. How do they do on a global scale? And so October 1st to 3rd, please mark that on your calendar. More information to come. So if you are new to luxury or you have not quite earned in yet, if you go to KW Connect and you go to communities, you'll see KW Luxury there. That is a portal open to everyone. And that talks a lot about the services that we provide you. And of course, that's going to change. We're working on it. If you have if you are newly earned in or you're earned in already, under the communities, you'll see your luxury hub. And if you're getting started, we just launched the 30, 60, 90 for luxury agents. That was a baby of mine. And so if you're just newly earned in, there's a plan for you. You don't have to do it in 60 days. You can accelerate and do it in 30 if you like. Or if you're currently into luxury and you just kind of want to refresh or reboot, please follow that. The Luxury Learning Series is the second Friday of every month. They are live and they're also recorded. And that is open to all, whether you're within KW Luxury or not. And that's when Brady interviews one of our peers who is really performing at a high level. It's 30 minutes of what they do in their best practices. And that's pretty amazing. And we talk about the pillars of luxury and the 15 standards. Masterminds. So on the even months, like February, April, June, we have masterminds, and that's usually third or fourth Wednesday. So the next one is coming up. Please watch for announcements for that. And then if you are not quite sure if you've earned in yet, make sure you check in with your leadership, and the leadership will be able to see if you qualify, because every area has different qualifications as far as price points, right? And also, if you do not have somebody responsible for your marketing, or marketing is a big headache for you, this is open for everybody. Professional Services has Market My Luxury listing. So for $199, this is what they can do for you. If you send in the photos, kind of description, within 7 business days, they will give you a brochure, a PDF of your brochure created, just listed postcards. They will design a social media campaign for you. And any leads that come from that campaign, they will immediately take and drop into Command and tag it for you. So can you imagine somebody doing that for you for $199? I would pay that all day long. And then for $99, you can do Market My sold listings. So that's open for everyone. I see some questions. Oh, thank you, Serena. Fantastic. So really, and then if you're new to luxury also, or you just want a refresher, email luxury@kw.com. We're the only segment right now with concierge service. So they're getting bombarded with questions every single day. Please give them some grace for a day to respond, and log in and join a luxury orientation, because that's about an hour of information that they can give you, how to access templates, how to use how to create a listing presentation using luxury assets. What are the other services? Where can you find things? It's all there. So if anything at all, you don't do anything, sign up for the luxury orientation. So send an email to luxury@kw.com to sign up for an orientation. And what else? That's
And
about it.
I put the website, the portal website, because I do think we get a lot of questions, and most everything you talked about is on that portal on Connect. Links to the videos, links to the marketing. So I have it bookmarked. I go there all the time. And so I put it up in the chat. You guys may want to bookmark it and just check in on it.
And most important thing, aside from going to luxury, the second most important thing is make sure you're subscribed to our emails. We have luxury agents come up and said, I didn't know this was happening. They mistakenly or unknowingly unsubscribed to KW emails, so they're not getting our emails.
Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I have a question about Boston. If
Yes.
we are bringing our spouse with us, but we don't want them to attend the daytime stuff, how do we include them at night? Because there wasn't a separate registration for them.
Yes, there might be a separate registration. It is limited space. So it's going to be first, it's going to be our agents first, most likely. And then if there is room, we'll open up, because we want to serve our agents first. Kalina, that's a great question. And there are more details. We're working on the details right now.
Great questions, folks. Who else has a question for Caroline? Incredible. Thank you so much, Caroline. Do you have time for maybe 2 or 3 more questions with the 10 minutes or 9 minutes that are remaining?
Yes,
Unless anyone else
absolutely.
has questions.
I'm
Okay.
yours if they want to stay on.
Great.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
How do you handle buyer agreements? My specialty is working with luxury clients that are looking for seasonal properties, and my relationship can be 2 or 3 years long with many of them because they're in transition or haven't quite gotten ready. And I've found that the buyer agreement for me has just been awkward with them. And I was just wondering how you handle them.
Yeah, so there's two great question, Karen. There are two prongs to the buyer broker agreement. We were just in masterminds with Gary last week, and I know some of you were there as well. And there are lawsuits right now in regard to commissions, and there are cities, towns, states who are telling the sellers you don't have to pay anything. So you're going to be working hard for your clients, and it could be for a listing that pays 0.5%. So that is something to, that's a dialogue conversation on how do you get, how you discuss that. And they're coming up with dialogue for us as well. So for us, we say our connections with our community, we get called all the time on coming soons or properties that are sold privately. So we get asked to price properties, and Mr. Seller or Miss Seller, would you like to have access to those? Absolutely. Great. Well, we reserve, because we work so hard for our clients, the clients who actually trust us and whom we work 200% for, they're the ones who signed our buyer broker agreement, and they're the ones who get first information on these. And so we make it something that is very exclusive, which it is, because we've worked hard to build those relationships. I'm sure you have as well. So make that as something that I need to respect my clients. For the clients who trust us and want to work with us, it's only reserved for them. That gets their attention like that.
Good point. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great question, Karen. Great question. Any other questions for Caroline?
Hi, Mark Benson in Naples, Florida. Nice to see you, Caroline.
Hi, friend.
I just wanted to ask, I know we have other agents here on the calls that promote listings for other luxury properties outside of their area. And I was wondering if you do that. I know Dean Otto is on here. He's got a $16,500,000 listing. And are you doing anything either in online media or in print versions where you highlight properties in other areas?
I think that's a great opportunity to show our reach, right? If we have permission from the other agent to do so. I'm quite selective of what I share. I want to share because I know my clients would probably be interested in that stunning property Dean has. So I would love to promote that and help them buy it, because I know a lot of Northern California buyers are going to Hawaii and purchasing property. So I want to be very selective and curate it to what my audience would like to see, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I would want to go out and see it for myself first before I started promoting it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I get asked all the time. I'm sure you do. Can you help me promote this? Can you help me promote that? And does it align with who we are? Right? And does it serve our clientele? Because eventually, my belief is that it could be spam. And then people just stop paying attention to your feed.
Great question. Great question, Mark. Down in Naples, Florida.
I have a question. So this is Adam in Miami, and you said that you work in a smaller geographical area of high price, and I'm wondering, how did you gain momentum in such a small area that's so competitive? Like, how did you farm that area?
That's a great question, Adam. The biggest mistake or regret that I have, well, it's not a regret because I've learned from it. I wish I had started farming earlier. I was told by a former manager at another brokerage, don't worry about farming, just go to where your clients are. And I look back and say, oh my gosh, I just lost so much market share for people that have, and started after I did. So so I started looking at, where do I do most of my business? Where is there lower barrier entry? There's not one dominating agent, because you don't want to fight that giant yet. So I looked at where I did most of my business, and that's where I started farming. And that's been quite successful. And it's weekly newsletter. It's the quarterly newsletters, and the newsletters are not all about me. The newsletters are about information that they might need to know now about their communities, about the market, what it looks like. One of the listing conversations I had, I was going up I was new agent, and this is a rocket scientist. He helped design the Google driverless car. Okay, he's a rocket scientist. He had 5 other agents competing, and he said, and he chose me. And I said at the end, I'm really curious. You had 5 other amazing agents. Why choose me? He said, you're the only one that didn't talk about yourself. You're the only one that asked questions about me and my goals. So I realized that communication that goes out for me is not all about me and my staff.
Excellent.
Thank you, Adam Alonso. Great question. And Coral Gables there. Excellent.
Caroline, I've had a couple people asking how to find out about the event in Boston. I referred them to luxury@kw.com, but do you want to correct me, or is that correct?
It is coming soon. We are working on the design and the agenda. We're having a regroup meeting. Wednesday is my KW Luxury Days. So more to come. Just look for the email and look on the Facebook page. It's coming, I promise, in the next 2 weeks.
All right. So
I wanted to mention that Amelia Keene is on the call, and she has a $25 million property that you might want to check out also.
Fantastic.
Great. Good info. Good info. 2 minutes left on this call, folks.
Thank you, Mark.
Good shout out from Mark and Naples.
I love this community. Look at this.
Any books you recommend for us, Caroline? Any books?
Here, these are the books I would recommend. I have them ready for you because this is a question I get asked all the time. This is my stack.
Screenshot.
These are the books that have changed my life. Okay. This one, if you have a team, this is a fun one to do with your team during your half-year team advances. That's called 5, and it helps them think bigger. Of course, the one thing, the 2 that help me, so I categorize them. The 2 that help me with standards and communication, of course, the New Gold Standard about the Ritz-Carlton, older book, still relevant. This is the 7 levels of communication that I have my team read. Then about our brand. What are you for? What do you really stand for? I talk a lot about who are you? What are your values? And then this book, Iconic. This was a game changer for us. Okay, how do we become iconic? 2, as far as 2 books that have impacted my life, you can see this, that I've read 2 or 3 times each. This is a big read. It's Principles by Ray Dalio. And that term that I talk about, radical candor and how to lead people, comes from this book. This book that Gary had us read, The Road Less Stupid, one of my favorite books by Keith Cunningham. Brilliant, noble. This is the one that Gary had us read last week. He gave us reading assignment, The Innovation Stack. Really, if you can listen to it on Audible, because the person narrating is the author, who is the co-founder of Square with Jack Dorsey, and he's quite humorous. Brilliant book. We're reading this as a team, The Gap in the Game. So not only do we want to learn about leadership and business, we want to learn about our happiness and joy, and how do we measure that? And then one thing that I've just been assigned by my coach is the CEO only does 3 things, and this was assigned to him by Gary. So I highly recommend this one. Anything assigned by Gary, I recommend.
A lot of reading.
Those are the books that impacted my life.
Thank you for sharing. Amazing. Question for you. A lot of reading for us coming up this summer. How do we contact you? If we have any Northern California area buyer or seller referrals, how do we reach out to those of us on the call?
Sure. It's just my email, caroline@carolinehuo.com. I'll type it in the chat.
Jen has already typed it. She is.
Oh, there you go. Look at that.
I shared your email. I'm glad to
Caroline, we can't thank you enough. Jen is going to go into some housekeeping right now, but thank you so much for your generosity of time.
It's my pleasure. So great to see all of you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. And we are on every month. So if you have the time, we'd love it if you hop right back on next month as well.
Fantastic. Go fight, win, everybody. Good luck.
Take care. Jen, you have some housekeeping items for anyone?
I do. Somebody asked about the Facebook page, and I put the handle in there, but the chat gets very active. So it's KW Luxury Official. Look it up on Facebook. That is the KW Luxury Facebook page. Anjali, Jason, and I are tossing around the idea of doing a regional one, and we just need to set aside some time to do that so we can share regionally. A quick reminder, I'm going to do this again. I know some of you send me your email and chat, but the chat gets a little active. So if you are not receiving our weekly or our email notifications of events, send me an email and I will add you to the list. I just put that information in the chat. We do this, as a reminder, every first Wednesday. Our next meeting is July 6th. If you're on our list, you'll get a reminder. We have a really terrific speaker next month, Aaron Kaufman. He's the #1 profit share earner at KW, and he's going to talk about how it relates to luxury. He made $10,000 in profit shares just last month, so he'll be a great resource to us. And then finally, we always end swiftly, but I think what we want to do is get into the habit of making sure that we network. Anjali, I'll put our emails back there in the chat again, but Anjali and I are in Tampa if you need anybody. Jason, of course, is in South Florida, Miami. We have a really great database of you guys that I have access to. If you are ever looking for a referral, let's talk about it on our call. Let's chat about it in our chat box. Let's start working together, and we'll make sure to bring this up at the end of each call to just see if anybody has any needs that we can support each other with. Anything else, Jason, Anjali?
That's all I've got. We got some. No, thank you everybody for investing an hour with us. So thank you. Appreciate your time. Your time is valuable. So hopefully this was a good hour invested. You had some valuable content that's going to help you in your business. We enjoy doing it, and hopefully it's of value to you. And if we can ever be of help in Tampa or Miami, we'd love to help your clients. So, yeah, that's all I got.
And always remember, this is a place where all of us contribute. So if you know of someone you think would be of value to all of us on this call, please reach out. Let us know who it is, and we will reach out and get them, or at least try to get them to come onto the call and speak to all of us and help us all grow. So reach out if you have any suggestions, if you have any thoughts on how we could improve this call or what we could do better. We're always open to your input. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you all next month.
Looking forward to
you guys are all sending emails into the chat. I'm trying to capture them, and I will usually do a good job at capturing them. But again, if you send me an email at jenniferscales@kw.com, that's the easiest way I can confirm. I'm doing a lot of cut and pasting, and I'll try to capture this from the chat, but if not, just send me an email, jenniferscales@kw.com. We will add you and make sure you get all future communications.